filming 4 follow-ups back to back. There's no way to make it look like I didn't. The Moon and Antarctica. An album by The Modest Mice. This is good. This is a good album. I like I said at the end of the video, I see why some people don't jive with this one as much or put it up on as high of a place as something like Lonesome Crowded West. Because it's a little more polished. It deals with different genres. You got some psych rock, some post rock in there as well. Definitely feels very conceptual, even more so than Lonesome Crowded West, surprisingly. But I think it's quite good. And I enjoy those extra genres that they kind of threw in on top. There's some space rock as well. I dig that. So, track by track. Third Planet, I think, is a stellar indie rock track. Great composition and lyrics. I've loved that one for a while. Gravity Rides Everything, I think, is also another solid indie rock track. Has a good mix of acoustic guitar with electric guitar lead lines in it. That's one among my favorites on the album is Gravity Rides Everything. Dark Center of the Universe, I think, is a cool song with nice swells, but for some reason it doesn't resonate a lot with me. It's one of the more epic ones on the album for sure, but there's other ones on here I like more. Perfect Disguise. Sort of an interlude track that I think works fine in the album, but on its own, it's here and there. And then Tiny Cities Made of Ashes is kind of the first sonic departure on the album. It's dark and sultry. In some small ways, it sort of hints at some of the sounds they'll play with on later albums from what songs I've heard from those albums. But yeah, this is definitely like that left turn where it's like boom, 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 boom. You're like, what am I hearing? But it's good. A Different City, I think, has nice energy. The chorus and the verse tones work well in contrast with each other. The Cold Part, I think, is a nice kind of post-rock-esque track with a dour mood. It almost sounds like something off of Explosion in the Sky's debut album. So if you like The Cold Part and the way it sounds, I suggest their debut album, which I don't know if it's self-titled or not, but it's nice. Alone Down There, like Perfect Disguise, it's kind of a transitionary interlude, although I prefer Perfect Disguise, I think. Alone Down There is fine, though. And then The Stars Are Projectors. It's an awesome track with psychedelic and post-rock elements, and I really love the latter half. Just a greatly composed song. And then a weird, interesting shift into Wild Packs of Family Dogs. It's kind of almost like Jesus Was an Only Child-esque acoustic short track. But after Stars Are Projectors, it's a really weird like left turn again. And then Paper Thin Walls, I actually love this one. It's reminiscent of some of like the Building Something Out of Nothing, the Interstate 8 tracks. I really like the energy to it. I've kind of come to realize, and I mean, I have 2 albums to go with Modest Mouse, but I've come to realize that like the Building Something Out of Nothing tracks, those are kind of some of my favorite Modest Mouse tracks in a way. Because it's an interesting marriage between the early stuff and then kind of like moving out of the Lonesome Crowded West into this era. And it's just like that's kind of like exactly the sweet spot for me, I think. But we'll see at the end of all this how I feel about all the albums. I Came as a Rat is a good track, but I don't love it personally. I think it works well in the album flow, though. Did someone flush the toilet again? Second time in this recording. Lives. It works as its own track, but again, it's kind of another transitional one. It's fine. Life Like Weeds, I actually love this one, has a great chorus and mood. And it's just like the outro that's kind of very, very moody and kind of swaying. Really dig that. And then What People Are Made Of is a really interesting end for the album. And it's on such an energetic note. I think it's good, but it's such a weird way to end. And I kind of was reminded a bit of, I think it was This Is a Long Drive that also had an odd ending track. But I think it's a good album. It doesn't strike me as much as some of their other work because I think it's not as raw. It's more composed and intentional. I think it's very solid, but it feels very solid, but not special, I guess is the way to put it. But again, very solid. I have nothing really bad to say about it. There's only a few tracks on here like Alone Down There and wild packs of family dogs, maybe lives. Well, no, lives is good. That are just kind of like, whatever. But most of it's pretty solid stuff. So that's my follow-up to the moon and Antarctica. Thank you all so much for watching. Godspeed.